Hello there, and welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. This week's discussion topics, as usual, include anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, and inequality in America. And that pretty much covers everything. I'm going to turn the live chat on, and hopefully people will say hello. Let me just get this straight. The show is meant to be, the show is meant to be, hold it. Let me get back to my spot. This show's meant to be an opportunity to, Moppy, hello, you're here, for viewers to speak their mind. So I want to hear what you have to say, and I will try to read everybody's comments as long as they're not like completely out there and, or something like that, which we do get on here, but I'll read everybody's comments as appropriate. Thanks for being here, Moppy. It's also meant to serve as a tool for white people to learn the truth about systemic racism. Because as you all know, we have some major issues in this country, and I don't know if we're going to make it. So we got to talk about racism. We can't be afraid. If you're white, you cannot be afraid to talk about racism. Hello there, Anton. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And Andrew, hello. Thanks for being here. We're going to get started. We have a lot to talk about tonight, so please don't be shy. If you're watching, jump right in and tell me what you think. Even if I'm blabbing, just jump in and do it, okay? For those who might not know me, I am Angry Soccer Mom, and I host this live show, and I run a number of online communities that include this Angry Soccer Mom YouTube channel. Hi, Stevie. Thanks for being here. I host this live show, and I also have a bunch of communities for various people, but all my communities are geared towards getting white folks to understand the truth about systemic racism. From the beginning of our nation's history, before it was even a country. And so we have to learn to talk about it and not be afraid to do so. So let's talk about it. So if you believe, like I do, that it's way past time for white folks in America to start taking some racial responsibility and support the dismantling of systemic racism, not leading, not being, the savior, but supporting Black people, brown people, Indigenous people, all people of color, all people who are being abused by our nation in this day and age. It's just scary. We have a lot going on tonight. The thing is, if you're white and you learn to talk about racism and get really comfortable by being mentored by people who know about it, and you have to talk to Black, brown, African American, and you have to talk to everybody. You'll get so comfortable, you'll be able to teach other white people. It's not the responsibility of people who have been abused by our sick system of systemic racism to teach us. So white folks, we got to get on board and start teaching other white people. Okay, we can do this. It's a big job, but even if everyone just does a little bit, it could make a difference. So tonight's topics are going to be interesting. The new abortion laws and racism. Talking points on abortion laws. Actually, they're anti-abortion laws. This is awful because I don't even want to say this. It's like the new N-word. There's Thug Day at a Texas school and black hair at school and how it's being policed, and people are not trying to, they're not trying to stand up for the kids. And right now, this administration certainly isn't. They were before. So I will start with a rant. And we'll go from there, and we can do any topic you want to talk about. All right. The first thing I always tell white folks who want to understand about systemic racism in America is take how bad you think systemic racism is and multiply it by a gazillion, and you might be getting somewhere close. We are so sheltered, and in this white privilege, we have no idea. We really have no idea. It's unbelievable. I tell them everything leads back to white supremacy. Everything. And It sounds crazy, but it's the truth. This might sound paranoid or something, but every day, the more I learn, the more I realize I'm just, saying the truth. It's completely historically accurate, as well as absolutely spot on for our modern politics in America today. Everything seems to lead back to systemic racism in America. And we had whitewash history. A lot of us don't know. And we got to learn, because right now we're all living a lie. And it's not good for us. It's definitely not good for the people who are being abused by it. But we think living this lie is just, neutral or whatever. It's not. Even if you just love being racist, if it's just like everything you've always wanted to do in your entire life, it's still not good for you. You're working against your own best interest. So that being said, let me explain. Unfortunately, the Republicans' right to life agenda is no different than any other of their racist policies, like immigration. Let me explain. And it's a tough thing. I thought, and please excuse my total naivete, I thought the right to life thing was all about religion and morals, and I could not have been more wrong. I just thought religious people are pushing their values and views on people who don't hold those views, or who might hold those views but don't want to be pushed. I didn't know what it was about, but there's something, and I should have known this. There's something more powerful than religion and morality in America. It's called white supremacy, and that is what drives our country. Today's pro-life stance is an attempt to control women. There's no doubt about that. At first, I thought it was just pure misogyny. Like, we want to control women. We have, the president's a misogynist. Obviously, he's done some horrible, horrible things. At first, I was just thinking that's got to be it. But as it turns out, taking away rights of women is just an added bonus with this one. Here are the facts. And tonight, I really want to talk about facts. And something I wanted to say before I go on, I want men to speak up tonight. Do not think, if you're a man, that this topic doesn't impact you. Unless you're a man. Hi, Mr. FS Black. Hello. What he says, great comment. White supremacy is practically a religion to these racists. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's like a disease or something. I don't even know how to describe it. They care about it more than they care about their own welfare, because they will vote easily against their best interest as long as they have racism on their side, or a racist in office. And I want men to know that I can't speak for all women, although I try, of course. No, I'm just kidding. We're counting on you to step up to the plate. You have sisters, wives, girlfriends, aunts, daughters. This is not, and it's sort of funny. I don't think anyone's pro-abortion. That's kind of ridiculous. And the whole thing, pro-life. Everybody's pro-life. Give me a break. But there are certain things that cannot happen in America. We cannot go back. We cannot go back to the days when women literally were dying. And the reason this is, well, I'll get to it. See, this is a racist thing too. And a lot of people are like, oh, what do you mean? But for white folks, you need to know this isn't just a big misogyny, a big control thing, a big, religious thing. This is a systemic racist thing. Apparently, so let's talk facts tonight. And I would like you to jump in and help me with the facts, because a lot of you might live in these states and know even more. Apparently, 60% of fetuses that are aborted every year are white. It's estimated that around 2040, which I think most people know this, or 2045, white people in America will be the numerical minority. Many sociologists and experts, and anyone who's been really following, realizes that white supremacy, they believe that if white supremacy can somehow stop abortions from happening, this will solve or slow down this decline in white babies being born. And I mean, sexists have wanted to control women's bodies from the beginning of time. And I know so many people love and adore the women in their life and the children in their life who will become women. And this is out of control. This is putting women in jeopardy. I could go on, and I will in a minute, but I want to take some comments. Moppy, every time a Black person tells their story, people will say he has a victim mentality. Shake my head. Victim mentality? I don't think so. Blacks have been victimized in this country since 1619. That is a fantastic point. See, Black people can't win because when they speak up, they're either being a victim, they're being the angry Black person, or they're making waves. They're playing the race card. I mean, I have heard 1,000 things, and they're all absolutely a bunch of bullshit. What they are is yet another excuse to deny what is happening and has been happening since, oh my gosh, 1619 sounds like a good day to me. Thank you, Moppy. Absolutely. And it's obnoxious. It's obnoxious. It's our own history. I'll never get it, but anyway. So Planned Parenthood, thank you for that great comment. Planned Parenthood, like a lot of other institutions and organizations that were founded at the time when overt racism was the norm, many don't realize that Margaret Sanger, the person who started it, she was a eugenicist. And there are many who say that this is a misinterpretation, but her involvement with this movement at the time is a historical fact. It's not in question. It's a lot of people will question it because a lot of people like to put things in the time period that they were done in. But she was a eugenicist, and she had many views, and there's proof of that. I don't know how far Alabama's going. Hi, thanks for being here. If you're here, definitely say hi. I'd love it. Thanks for being here. So we're talking about the anti-abortion laws. And so like a lot of those organizations, it's come to be, a much better thing, but it had a horrible, horrible history. And for some time now, population statistics are such that at the current rate, the white folks or Caucasians are predicted to be in the numerical minority in America within our lifetime, most of our lifetime. So, white people are scared, and it's unbelievable. It's almost as if racist white people think that maybe we don't treat Black people with equality and respect in America, and maybe they're afraid this is going to happen to them. Sorry, I had to go there. Oops. Sorry. I mean, it's ridiculous. So there's a ton of stuff being thrown out there, and I wanted to start with the anti-abortion stuff. I'm not pro-abortion. I don't know anyone who is. That's ridiculous. But I certainly am pro-human rights. And some of the stuff they're putting out there, it's going to take us. It won't take us pre-Roe v. Wade. It'll take us way past that. And I will explain tonight some of those things if you're not sure of those. And I'd love your input. Okay? So jump in and tell me what you think. Marines, 1944, Moppy, some corrections. Since the 1400s, we're not all African. We were already here. Africans came here in the 1600s. The invaders came in the 1400s, 200 years before. Thank you. And I take, I try not to correct people because you're both right. It is what it is. It's people have been here since the beginning, and white folks are the invaders. We're the invaders. We're the ones that invaded, and we started, with the near genocide of the native people who lived here, which were Black people and native people. And there's a lot to say about that. But thank you so much for jumping in there, Marine 1944. Appreciate it. The Birth Dearth. Yes, Alabama, The Birth Dearth. And it's a book. I haven't read it, heard a ton about it. and it is extremely scary. It's the plan, and the guy who wrote it was able to talk to presidents, and there's nothing by accident. And I don't know if you're as naive as I was, but I thought, oh, maybe they just don't get it. No, this has all been orchestrated. And if you're white and you're new to this topic and you're listening, this might sound like a conspiracy theory, but guess what? Sometimes it really is. And this is the biggest con job for sure of our nation. I don't know of the world because I don't know all of them, but white supremacy is what our nation was built on, based on, and it still is. Don't be fooled. And it might sound out there if you're just learning, but all you have to do is go on my YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. Go on my YouTube channel, go to the beginner videos. I have a series of beginner videos, and you will be blown away. And then as you start kind of getting all this, our real racial history that was whitewashed out of all of our textbooks, you will start to want to look at some more advanced ones that are kind of ranty and a little bit in your face, but it's way past time for white America to educate ourselves so we can educate other white people. It's part of being human. So let me stop ranting for a minute. Yeah, Alabama, the birth dearth thing is disgusting. Mr. FS, it's all about choice. Someone would rather abort the child than see them suffer, while others would rather die in childbirth than end the one growing inside of them. It's the mother's decision. Yeah, thank you for saying something. Here's the bottom line. I am not pro or con abortion, and I don't know anyone who is truly. No one's pro abortion. That is ridiculous. Like, yeah, I want everyone to, everybody's pro-life. I mean, unless you're like a murderer, okay? And true, a lot of people believe there's a cutoff at some point, but I'm sorry. I won't get into it. I keep jumping the gun here. I have some pretty strong feelings about allowing victims of rape and rape through incest, which I don't even know why they call it incest. It's rape, to force women to carry the children of their rapist is beyond me. It's beyond me. But anyway, we'll get into it. So let me see here. Where are we? Moppy. I've actually heard a Trump supporter say Black Lives Matter is worse than the KKK. You know what, Moppy? I have a quick story to tell. You just got me started. I had a quick story to tell. I was once with the little brownie troop, and I've told this before. I hope I'm not boring everybody too badly. I was with a brownie troop, and we were in this, it was like a field trip. And of course, I was talking, all white people. And I said something about, how supporting Black Lives Matter and how important it was. And a blonde little, woman said, I think they're a terrorist group. And I was like, oh my God, kill me now. So of course I had to take it upon myself to make a spectacle of myself and educate her. But I believe it. There's so much fake propaganda going around. It's insane. But yeah, definitely. So optimistically cynical. I took my nephew to the park, and when we got home, we found his goldfish dead, which is a tough situation for any non-parent. How do you explain? Very funny. Oh my God, you are funny. To a 4-year-old, I don't think you do, but that's a good one. Pretty funny. Let me see here. So let me begin. So states began passing the new abortion legislation. It's kind of started back in the fall after Trump chose Kavanaugh to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court. People started going, this added a 5th vote, which might go their way, and they're thinking, we might want to overturn Roe v. Wade. We might have the numbers. And as we talked out earlier, the numbers and doing so, I personally am, Jamie, thanks for being here. I am hard pressed to believe, okay, they're lying. They do not care about lives. If they cared about lives, they care about all lives. Actually, all lives. And I'm sorry, as we know, they don't. They being the Republican far, far right, or Trump's Republicans. Mr. F.S. Black, have you noticed how the states have the most extreme abortion laws are the same states that saw nothing wrong with slavery even now? They're trying to control other people's bodies. Absolutely. And this is going to impact Black, brown, African American, indigenous people, people of mixed hair. This is going to impact the poor, more of the poorest people, as usual, as systemic racism does. For wealthy people who are, Black, brown, they'll probably be better off, obviously. But I'll tell you, this is going to get ugly. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now. This is, once again, all comes back to racism. I'm sorry to say. This week I put out Jane Elliott's video. And you got to see her. I have it on my YouTube. It's been all over Facebook. If you haven't seen Jane Elliott, she's like 98 years old. And I'm not kidding. I think she really is 98 years old. I'm not trying to be funny. And she says it like it is. And she's amazing. She's the one with the blue eyes, brown eyes experiment way back. God, it was like the 50s or 60s, actually. Maybe I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly when. But she's been a very, very outspoken advocate for equity and equality. And she puts white people in their place. She helps them get a little feel for what it feels like, just for a little. They never can. She does simulations and she gets them crying. And I'm not saying that's a great thing, but they leave, their world's changed. And it's not easy to change a person who's just completely surrounded in white supremacy. And sometimes it does take a little bit of a jolt to the system. If you don't know Jane Elliott, you got it. You're not going to believe her. And Mr. F.S. Black, absolutely, 100%, because that's what this is all about. And I think it's just a perk that, they get to control of it. It's about racism. And I truly believe Jane Elliott when she says that this is about white supremacy. Because if you can force people to carry a white baby, then maybe our country won't turn so that we're in the numerical minority as white people. And I got to say, whites are terrified. That's why they're doing all this stuff. They're terrified because they're afraid, God forbid, they might get treated the way we treat non-white people today. It's disgusting. But anyway, great point. Jamie, Texas Republicans want to pass a bill to imprison women who have aborted and doctors. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. We're going to get into all that stuff. Absolutely. Let me just scroll down. Alabama. Junior is amazing. Oh, sorry. I didn't read the first part. Neely Fuller Jr. is amazing. Tell us more. Okay. I'm going to keep blabbing and tell us more. So the red states are rushing to pass all these restrictions while the blue states, actually a few of them, I don't know if you guys have noticed, are passing some protections, which is really nice to see. If you're in New York and California and a number of others, you'll probably be okay. But this is going to majorly impact so many people. So today as we speak, the most restrictive abortion laws in generations are currently spreading across the red states, and they are spreading. If you don't think this is your business, it's gonna be real soon. What red states are doing what's trying to do is trying to set up these absolutely harsh draconian laws in an attempt to overturn the Supreme Court ruling of 1973 case of Roe versus Wade, which the Supreme Court made access to abortion a constitutional right. Okay. Some of these new states wouldn't act to simply return us to pre-Roe v. Wade abortion laws. Now, instead, they represent a dramatic and unprecedented escalation in anti-abortion laws in the United States. Far, far, far worse than a simple Roe versus Wade reversal, according to this guy who has the credentials. He writes for the Washington Post, David Walsh. He's a PhD student in history from Princeton University. Even pre-Roe versus Wade states with theoretically very strict laws against abortion historically never prosecuted women who sought abortions. In contrast, Georgia's HB 481 would introduce criminal penalties for women who seek abortion. And as in Pat, hello, thanks for being here. Thank you so much. I've been so not around. Marine 1944. If you do some world traveling, you'll see that white supremacy is mostly an American vocation. It's like a pressure cooker. White folks can't seem to shake their addiction to it. Absolutely. Marine 1944, I absolutely get what you're saying. And it's kind of interesting because when I talk to people out of the country, they don't even want to send their kids over here because they're like, they think they'll get shot, and they think that by police or because we have weapons. And I mean, it's like a whole nother world. We've never come to terms with our white supremacy. And so it's a toughie. Okay. Wrath. I hope I'm saying it right. Oh, I remember you. Yes. Oh, so murdering your baby is a constitutional right. That is, if that's how you look at it, I guess so. Nobody really knows I don't think there's a person out there who knows my stance on, abortion, my personal stance, but I'm just saying it like it is right now about what's happening. And I am adding in my 2 cents about the rape, not allowing women who are brutally raped to have an abortion. And I know a lot of people think it's murder no matter what, even if at 6 weeks it's as big as a pea. We'll get into it. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just presenting stuff right now. I really, really don't. And I'm not going to come here and go oh, I know everything. I know nothing. I'm just talking it out with everybody. Okay. Mr. F.S. Black. So I've heard a law where a rapist can sue the victim if she aborts the offspring. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a police scam to see which rapist was dumb enough to come forward. No. It's absolutely true. I believe that, I know a rapist can in some states sue for custody after they're out of prison, after they've been convicted. If you look up, state to state, there's some pretty wild stuff going on. It's a lot of people say, oh, we have equality for women. When people complain about child marriage in other countries, I laugh my head off. I'm like, why don't we start with our country? Parents can force children to marry their rapists, so the rapist doesn't get convicted. So can a court. There are so many rules. I have learned more doing research. It's terrifying. I actually put out a chart on one of my social media pages showing real-time children who are married, what state, where, and how young they are. You can force a child to marry their rapist. You can also a rapist can take you to court and force you, in some states, not every, and force you to have custody of the child. That's just terrifying. And again, like I said earlier, this conversation needs to include men and women, not just women, in my privileged opinion, because men have sisters, lovers, girlfriends, wives, aunts, daughters. This is everybody's problem, right? And I'm not here to tell you, not for 1 minute, when it's murder, when it's not. But I can tell you one thing. Telling women what they can and can't do with their bodies is absolutely unbelievable, because we all know what's going to happen, what happened before. Women won't stop getting abortions. They will do what they want and they will die. Okay. And I'm not saying because that's going to happen, that's why, but this is not good. This is not good. And oh, Pat, yes, I'm very hard to get a hold of. I'm always doing something. So I'm so sorry. I let Pat down. Sorry about that. But bear with me. I'll try. Moppy, do white people know how they gained control of this world? Through terrorist acts. This country was taken over through terrorist acts, and so was Africa by the so-called white man. I can't speak for all white people, but I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. They are extremely unaware. This is just my opinion. Unaware. Absolutely unaware. Most 50% of all white adults in America think we're in a post-racial era because we had a black president, because we emancipated the slaves, or because, what was the other reason again? There's one other, I mean, it's ridiculous. The ignorance, like I always say, Moppy, I hate to say it, I say this to white folks, take what you think you know about systemic racism in America, how bad it is, multiply it by a gazillion, okay, that's not even a number, and you might be slightly getting close. It is everything goes back to white supremacy. It's unbelievable. But I got to say, now I've met people who, when I said kidnapped from Africa and dragged over away from their civilizations, they're like, kidnapped? What do you mean? I mean, oh my God, it's unbelievable. I have to say, I definitely have opinions, and I can't help but give my opinion. But I won't state my set opinion on abortion, because I do have one. But all I can say is the word hypocrite comes to mind. You cannot say life matters and act like we do in America. Oh, all of a sudden life matters when it's an abortion. I'm not buying it. Sorry. It's just that's all I'll say about that. Okay, I lied. I'll say more about it, but that's definitely, let me just see. So yeah, Moppy, no, I don't think they know. And that's why I'm so dedicated to trying to teach white folks the truth about our real racial history. Not to hurt them, but to inform them. It's life-changing. You walk around in a fog. White folks do. They're living a lie. It's a lie. We live a lie. And I won't be part of it. And it's not up to non-white folks to educate us about our behavior. It's up to white folks to step up to the plate and take some goddamn responsibility. Sorry, I said it. Oops, sorry. But okay, so I will stop ranting. Maybe. Where are we? Pat. Well, what about the cop who was badgering the black college student, and almost at the end of the video, the officer turned off the sound of the video to keep from recording what they were saying? Pat, are you talking about the college student that was picking up trash around his house? He was working and he lived there. If that's who you're talking about, oh yeah. I just stuck that on my YouTube channel, actually. Very, very disturbing. The whole thing is just so disturbing. And the day before, I stuck one on a little 12-year-old boy who was running around in a carnival, who was arrested, and they put a bag on his head. I mean, it wasn't a bag. He was spitting, I guess, but I mean, it looked like they were going to kill him. I mean, this stuff's terrifying. And don't even get me started with police. I'll say one more thing before I take more. For white folks who are listening, who are just learning about this, I need you to know that we have set absolutely amazing ways to stop police from killing black people with impunity and getting away with it. There are cities all over the place that have model programs. I outlined a 12-step program in my second to last video I put out. We just don't want to. This is not rocket freaking science. It's called training, and we don't want to. And especially our federal government doesn't want anything to do with it, because we are supporting white supremacy. It's not that we don't have the, oh, how do we stop them from killing? No, that is a set thing. We can do that. We don't want to. So white folks need to understand that. We're doing this and it's purposeful. And that's a really hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. God, I rant a lot. I'm like crazy today. Let me see. Where am I? So yeah, if that's the case you're talking about, Pat, oh my God, it's a nightmare. If it's not, just let me know and I'll get back once I get your comment back on. Jamie, Trump said he will not lower prices on prescription drugs until Congress and Democrats stop investigating him. Many people will suffer on the high prices with the prescription drugs. Absolutely. He's a terrorist to his own people. He really is. And I've said that before, not that I want to be right, but the man is a terrorist to his own constituents. And the problem is some of us know it and some of us don't. Some of us support him because we just don't get it. And I can't even go there because I don't know why. But yeah, he is, it's so funny because I think it was was it today or yesterday that he said, I'm the most transparent president probably in the history of all this. Laughing. Show us your taxes. Oops, not so transparent, are we? No, I mean, he is a pathological liar. He's like, I need to tell you guys. So yeah, he's going to circumvent the spirit of everything that is American. He is circumventing our checks and balances. He's a con man. This is what he does. And boy, does he have something over on people. You know he does, because people do what they're told. They're afraid of him. They do, these people in high positions, he's got something on them. I'm really fearful for our nation. What do you guys tell me? I'll get to your comments. Tell me. I'm really, really thinking that this could be it for us. And I'm not trying to be the soothsayer of doom, but fall of Rome. That's all I can say. So, anyway, never mind me. I will take some more comments. Let me see. But yeah, Jamie, it's criminal what he's doing. I don't think our checks and balances are going to be able to hold up. And this is just, I hope to God they will. I don't think our checks and balances were made for a narcissistic, inhumane man who does not care about anyone but himself. I just don't think they were made, I don't think they're that good, because he is a con man. He's good at what he does, conning people, and he's greedy and inhumane. And I just don't know, guys. Tell me what you think. Sounds like what they were saying for Pat. Okay, so I was kind of on. Neil, hi. Oh, thanks for being here. Yay. I've been here but not feeling well, so watch. Thank you so much for watching. If you're sick, I totally understand. I'm so glad that you're here, though. Alabama. I scrolled up. These anti-abortion people are the first to name call the babies, i.e. welfare babies, anchor baby. Oh, that's my problem, Alabama. I don't really have a position for all practical purposes here tonight, on precisely when you should and shouldn't. That's not my place, But I do have a position on the fact that there are hypocrites who allowed children to be caged, okay? Allowed them to be taken from their parents, allowed them to be adopted out, allowed them to be raped and molested in our care. 5 children have died. This is just the beginning. Taking away healthcare from children, taking away healthcare from adults. We don't care about people. This is total BS. This whole, we care so much. This abortion thing, I promise you, is all about getting white babies born. These people don't care about people. And I know there are some people who do. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the men, mostly men, who have absolutely no clue. They are not doctors, who choose to take away human rights of women because they can. I mean, I'll get into it later, but think about if you're a rapist. You're thrilled. You're like, great. Now I can rape somebody, and I don't even know how they think, but I'm just saying, this is tough stuff to talk about. Now I can go out and rape somebody, and if she gets pregnant, she won't be able to tell on me, because if she tells on me, and they're going to get away with it because she can't go to the police, because then this is crazy. This stuff's crazy. This has ramifications that are way beyond anything that we've ever seen from the stuff I've been reading. So I was saying, typical prosecutors, before women had the right, they didn't go after the women. I mean, I guess they could have, but they didn't. But here's the thing. This Georgia HB 481 will introduce criminal penalties for women who seek abortions. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot more than just women who are seeking an abortion. It is going to get ugly, because as is typical with crimes of this nature, prosecutors will have a lot of discretion, and we all know exactly what that means. As history has shown, low-income Black people will be prosecuted disproportionately. They will be imprisoned and they will be prosecuted. You know they will. That's how we roll. White supremacy rules the day, and it will be no different than anything else we do. And low-income women who are Black, brown, indigenous, African-American, Latino, they will be the ones who will be imprisoned. So as you can see, this is not just a woman's issue of freedom of her own body. It's an issue of systemic racism. Like the rant I did earlier, it's an attempt to grow the white population through forcing white births to go to term. I swear, I really believe this. Okay, enough about what I believe. Let us take some comments. Yeah, Alabama, you are absolutely right. They're hypocrites. It's unbelievable. They won't take care of a baby if the mom's on welfare, and they're cutting food at the schools and nutrition and care. But God forbid somebody wants to abort a baby that is microscopic, or a fetus, they call it. Again, I'm not for, against, whatever, but this is insane. This is insane. 6 weeks. It is as big as a little tiny pea. Okay. I'm just saying it like it is. I wanted to know, how big is this thing at 6 weeks? How baby-like? They show babies like, oh, look, it's born. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, 6 weeks. No. I just want things to be real. Let's be real. It is at 6 weeks as big as a pea. And people should know that, whether they're pro, against, halfway, or whatever. Okay. Jamie, Trump also walked out on Nancy Pelosi and Schumer. He didn't want to discuss the infrastructure jobs, prescription drug budget. He had a tantrum and walked out like a child, because that's what he does. Isn't that because he heard that she said that he was trying to get away with stuff? So, I mean, we have a 3-year-old. No, that's kind of insulting to 3-year-olds. We have we have a 3-year-old in the office, and it's a really racist one who's scary as hell. Yep. Great points, Jamie. Thank you. Mr. F.S. Black. Moppy, so true. Even the motherland isn't exempt from white supremacy. Anyone who knows about apartheid or has seen how the European inhabitants treat the natives know this. Yeah. And Pat says, yes, and that's it. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, I saw this guy. I didn't know what to do. I just watched it and was mesmerized. This young man, he's a young Black man who's a college student. He lives there. He's working on his own place where he lives. He's actually picking up trash with a trash picker-upper, and a police basically profiles him. And I guess harassment is the term. And it got ugly. That kid's got something on him, man. I couldn't believe it. I thought they were going to shoot him. It was terrifying. I put it on YouTube, and this is a couple days ago. But yeah, that was really, really bad. Gary, welcome. Thanks for being here. You're just on time to hear me blab, and I want to know what everybody thinks. Let me see. Pat posted something from Instagram. It doesn't show up, but you can click on it, I think later, I guess. I'm not exactly sure, but you can click on it. Okay, Pat. Trump said he will not print new money with Black people on it. Yeah, I saw that. That's obnoxious. And I didn't see that he said that, but I read about something. Can you tell us more if you know about that? Because I heard about it, but I didn't know. he is refusing to print that. Yeah, he's changed. I don't know exactly what happened because I didn't read that last article on it, but yeah, Harriet Tubman, he's trying to keep her, I believe he's trying to keep her off. I mean, this guy's a racist. I mean, Central Park 5, that says it all. What he did to them alone is, don't even get me started. But yeah, I definitely, thanks for bringing that up. It's disgusting. It's really bad. Marine 1944. Nobody ever talks about what Team white supremacy did in the South Pacific, melanated people for 300 to 400 years, the Dutch, the French, and the British. Yep. And you know what? If you want to bring that up, educate us. I'd love it. My area that I try to stick to is American history and try to educate whites, but absolutely, it's completely all convoluted. I mean, the stuff that went on there was unbelievable, but the stuff that went on here, oh my God. I mean, white folks took it to a whole nother level and we wouldn't give it up. White folks in America, we just wouldn't stop it. And we've never faced our own racial truth. And we've never had any reconciliation about, we've never had reparations for people whose ancestors were enslaved. And oh my God, there's just so many, we just pretend it's not. That's what we do. We pretend it's not here. And this is what we get. Divided country with racism and segregation, with a president that is literally, he's the modern leader, de facto leader of the modern white supremacist clan, Ku Klux Klan. He really is. He is the de facto modern leader because people all over the world are following him. And he's destroying our nation. Let me see here. Yeah, that's a great point. So anything you want to bring up to educate Marine 1944, bring it on, okay? Just throw it on. I'll read it. Pat says, so correct, Mr. F.S. Black. Alabama, Thorne, and these same anti-abortion, pro-life supporters are also pro-war and pro-death penalty. That kills me, the death penalty thing. Their motto is, let the child live so we can kill them later. You know what, Mr. F.S. Black, you get the prize of the day. Yep. When somebody is staunch pro-life, like the minute conception, that's it, whatever, yet they're pro-death penalty. Oh my goodness. Seriously? Who cares that 4% of people who are, put in the death penalty and murdered by the state end up being found innocent post-mortem? Yeah, that's 4%. Hey, they probably did something anyway. I mean, my God, who cares that it's incredibly racist at every single systemic racism at every step of the way, and that Black, brown, and indigenous and African-American people get continuously longer sentence, harder sentence, more death penalty for less crime? Who cares about that? I mean, the hypocrisy it's disgusting. The lies. My God, the lies. Yes. Well, what about, let me see. Pat, what about low-end whites? Pat, are you referring to people who are white who are very, very impoverished? Is that kind of what you're talking about? That's a great question, because they're going to obviously have a lot of problems leaving the state or somehow circumventing the anti-abortion laws. They're going to be in trouble too. They still have their white privilege, and that's something to understand. And I know you know that, but just, I'm talking to white folks who might be watching who don't know this. White privilege, and Pat, you know this, but white privilege, and this is for white folks who are just learning, has nothing to do with wealth, has nothing to do with how hard you work, it has nothing to do with whether you're a good person or a bad person. It's the unearned benefit that we automatically get just by being born white. We didn't do it. We didn't have control of that. But yes, the economic privilege is going to be huge. Anybody, and especially white folks, because they'll be the higher numbers, at least for now, of impoverished people, just because, they're a higher number in the percentage population. They're going to be having, this is the whole thing, they're going to be having babies because they aren't going to have the means to get out and try something else or do something else or go to the store and maybe, there's a contraception that is supposed to work. They call it Plan B or the morning after pill or whatever. And that's not an abortion pill. It's a contraceptive pill that will stop the meeting of the two cells supposedly and end up, making it so you're not pregnant. But that is even getting reviewed in a lot of states and being under scrutiny. And I'm telling you, I read this thing that said that it was by a person who was a doctor and she worked at a Planned Parenthood. She said, it probably is a good idea to go out and maybe put a couple on your shelf. Not maybe for you, but maybe for a friend, a girlfriend, a wife, a sister, a daughter, because these things, but the problem with that is that window is like a really small window, 48-hour. But anyway, I'm not a doctor and I'm not obviously a Planned Parenthood person, but it's getting ugly. I learned a lot. So yeah, people who are impoverished, doesn't matter what shade they are going to be really screwed. Let me just see here. Let me see. I have lost my spot. Wow. Okay. I'm back. Yeah, so there are some of them too, right? Mommy, every time I watch a video about real Black history, there's always people down in the comment section saying, stop stealing people's culture. Sorry, sir, the history has already been stolen by your people. Yeah, what do you mean by that? Do you mean white folks are saying to Black people, stop stealing their culture? Or I know cultural appropriation with white people, most whites don't even know what that is. And they're ignorant. They don't know what that word means. At least the level of, hundreds of people I've worked with, they don't, maybe thousands by now. They don't know what cultural appropriation is. So they don't know what the term means. So if they seriously don't know what it is, if that makes sense. Actually, there's a case I wanted to talk about later on today. If you guys, after this, it's really bad. It's on our agenda, but yeah, absolutely. Blacks are here to reclaim their history. Yeah, it's just so important. And that's why I try to educate white folks, not to blame them or not to guilt them out, but how are we supposed to understand the context of today's problems in modern America as we speak if we're living in a fantasy of what our history's been? If you don't know about redlining sundown towns, if you don't know about the Devil's Punch Bowl, if you don't know about the horrific de facto, if you don't know about Black codes, if you don't know about all these things, then you don't know your real racial history. And so when you try to think about what's happening today, of course you're going to be racist as hell. Like, what, do they all just want to live together and like in inner city? I mean, we did this. We white folks did this. Maybe not us personally, but you don't get born into obvious horrific circumstances where a nation is being cruel to their own people and go, I didn't do it, so I'm not going to help. I mean, that's crazy. So anyway, you got me going, Moppy. Absolutely. I wanted to hear the last part if they talked about it. And I'm not sure what, of course, because I can't keep up with it. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Pat. You're talking about, oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the kid. I don't know what happened. And I watched till the very end because you're right, they turned it off. They turned it off. I have no clue, but I get the feeling I'm going to be all over this. Like after this show, I'm going to look it up and try to see if there's anything I can find on it. Because apparently I missed the boat. It was a couple days ago. But yeah, I want to know. I mean, that kid he was strong. Wow. I don't think I could have done that. I felt like his life was in danger. I was really scared. But yeah, great comment though, Pat. Absolutely. Gary, he's the leader for sure. Yeah, people are fun. Pat, look, in 1844, the government gave out land to the settlers who moved to America, and the Blacks got nothing. Absolutely. They got absolutely nothing. Black folks in America have been the brunt of being ripped off every time. we haven't even given reparations. And we've given reparations pretty much to every group on the planet, in America at least. And the people who we've done the most catastrophic damage to, no way, we can't do that. I mean, it's our hatred and our white supremacy is beyond my human understanding. It's the depths of it are, I don't know, like I need to tell you guys this, God. But this, again, if white folks are watching, they need to understand this. This isn't a conspiracy theory when it's real. So I'm just saying. Great point. Thank you, Pat, for jumping in. And anything you have to add, the people who are watching the show, anything you have to add historically, jump right in. I would like to read it all. Neil, different topic. Lincoln gave slave owners $300 worth approximately $9,000 today for every free. Yeah. They paid slave owners reparations. Oops, wrong person. To newly freed, he offered them $100 and a one-way ticket to Haiti or Liberia. Oh, is that really true? I had heard that, and I know Liberia, nice. Generations later, when they lived here, they made our country great. They made our country prosper. Oh my God. Then he called it even. Dang. Yeah, it's criminal. It's in my mind, great points, Neil. It's a crime against humanity. It's an ongoing. Systemic racism is, in my, white lady opinion, a crime against humanity, an ongoing one. To have to live like this in your own nation, and then to hear it boast liberty and justice for all. What a bunch of crap that is. Yeah, not for all, but it's just very upsetting. Let me see here. Mr. F.S. Black. I'm not saying that every prisoner is innocent, but I will say that a great many of them are there for either their race, their status, or their lack of education. Yeah, it's yeah, it is. There's just, I could just go on and on. And that's like a whole nother live show. In fact, I did do a live show on that. I did a giant long live show on it, going step by step through the criminal justice, yeah, right, system at every step. Every step. It's disgusting. We don't have a criminal justice system. We have a system of pure racism that tries to incarcerate Black men and other brown men and non-white people. That's what we do. And anyone who says otherwise has no clue what they're talking about. This stuff is out there. There's no excuse in this day and age to not learn it. We have an internet, so look it up. It's everywhere. Yep, unbelievable. Great points, everybody. Yeah, no, I get it. And Mr. F.S. Black, just to be honest with you, my idea of what is fair for people who have committed crimes, I'm like off the charts. No one would believe what I think. I like some of the I've looked at some of the role models of programs they have in the Scandinavian countries. It's all therapeutic. It's all rehabilitative. I mean, when I think about what we do with solitary confinement, we've known that's been torture. I mean, we're on the United Nations list, like Amnesty International. We're like, our name's USA. I mean, my God, it's embarrassing. Yet we have the arrogance to point fingers at other nations who dare to. It's like, God, we need a mirror. I'm appalled by our prison system at every step, every turn. Our criminal justice system is disgusting. And you know what the craziest thing is? There is absolutely no reason for it. It's not like, oh, we just can't come up with a good program. No, we know what to do. The white people who are wealthy white people in charge don't want to. They're benefiting. And it makes me sick. Sorry, I'm like on the right page. Okay. Pat. 1845, blacks were not permitted in the state of Oregon. I know, blacks are banned from the state. Yeah, there's actually, I don't know if everyone knows this, there's actually a great point. There's actually a state where you weren't allowed, if like it was the only white state, Oregon. I mean, that's out of control. It was founded on whiteness. It's unbelievable, the things that people come up with. Thank you for bringing that up, Pat. You're bringing up awesome points. Marine, 1944. Indonesia just became free from 300 years of Dutch, French, English, and Japanese colonization in 1949. Most of them just look just like American Negroes. Yeah, wow. Yep. If you study, abroad, and I guess I'm assuming you've traveled, it's kind of funny that, not funny, but I mean, it's interesting. I read that there are two main ways to help get a white person less racist. One is travel, and it just makes complete sense. You actually realize, gosh, they're humans just like me. What do you know? Ooh, big shock. And the other is anti-racism and anti-bigotry education. And so that's why I'm really constantly pushing in all my groups the education, because as a teacher, I was a special ed teacher, and I'm not trying to be funny, but there is something to helping somebody understand who hasn't caught on yet, and hasn't investigated themselves. So maybe they do need a little bit of, like special help, which I'm absolutely, send your people to me. If you have white friends, it is not your responsibility. If you're a black person, brown person, indigenous person, African-American person, if you're a non-white person, you do not have to use your emotional energy to educate ignorant white folks. Send them to people like me. Just drop me a line, send them to me. They will probably resist, but it is not, you have to live all this stuff. You don't have to be teaching these people. And if you want to, and it helps you, absolutely. I'm fortunate. I have black people who teach me all the time, constantly. I'm really lucky. And hopefully I'm not pushing them. Sometimes I worry a little bit that I'm, pushing them maybe past a point that's appropriate. And I hope that they would stand up to me, because I'm always trying to learn stuff. But it is not anyone's responsibility but the people who did this, and that is the white people. Okay? So if you're a white person listening, just saying. Okay. Gary, you got your message held. Let me see. That pill is considered an abortion pill by the nut jobs. They want straight white babies. If a gay gene is found, they will insist on mandatory abortion. Gary, awesome point. You see, here's the thing. The lunatics way on the right. I'm not talking about people who just feel like, it's going to be a baby. You don't want. Everyone's pro-life, for God's sakes, unless you're some sort of, like, I don't know, serial killer or whatever. No one wants to kill something, at least that I know of. But yeah, that's a great point. They have very flexible morals. All of a sudden, oh, it's a homeless vet. Well, he probably did something, Or it's a person on drugs. Oh, or it's a black person. Oh, no, I'm not buying it. The sanctity of life baloney. If there's a sanctity to life, it's all lives. Every single life. There's a reason we have a Black Lives Matter movement. Okay? If Black lives, as Jane Elliott said, if Black lives hadn't mattered, if they had mattered for 300, 400, 500 years, if they actually had mattered, we wouldn't need a Black Lives Matter movement. We did this. And right, if they came out gay, no way. If they find the gay gene, we're in trouble, because the far right will try to fix it. Great point. Oh my gosh, I am so riled up tonight. This is crazy. You guys are like, thank you. Great point, Gary. Moppy. Let me see. Just re-scrolled. I'm going to catch up on comments. Okay. Okay. Moppy. Yeah. White people be saying, stop stealing people's culture. White people say that? They have it backwards. See, the thing that, okay, it's really kind of complicated for white folks because they don't understand that white, the term white, it's made up. It's not, that's just made up for racism. That's not, they think like there's really a white person. That's just made up. We're all shade, we're all shades of melanation or, melanated skin. Some more than others is activated. And there's nobody it's made up. It's made up for racism. That's a really weird, I wanted to tell you, if you are online and you're getting some problems with people, I know people online who will jump right in happily and give you some backup if you ever need it. And I don't think you need it, but you deserve it. You can't be living this every single day and then dealing with these numbskulls online who are incredibly entitled and arrogant and ahistorical and quite frankly kind of sickos. They're inhumane. I mean, so just get involved in one of my groups or get a hold of me and I'll get you back up, because I do that for people all the time. I help people and people back me up. Actually, every once in a while I'll get into a jam where I really just need a certain person to do a certain thing. For example, sometimes I will need a black male to talk to another black male, because as a white person, it's out of my lane. It would be inappropriate. And so sometimes I'll do that. I mean, and I have people who are absolutely willing to do that. People will back you. They got your back. There's a good community online. And those times are very, very rare in that, and I'll give an example, just to be clear. Even though it's not my place to tell a black person anything. It's not my place. I don't know more than a black person or a brown person or an indigenous. I don't know more about all the stuff than a person living it. I don't. It's not my place. So when push comes to shove and somebody asks me something and I say, well, that's out of my lane, but I can find someone for you who could maybe talk to you about that. Once in a while, there is an overlap because my groups are always intersectional. And what that means is, and this is very hard for some people who have trouble with the LGBTQ community, but it's the way I roll. I will never be any different. I feel in my mind, and this is easy for me to say because I'm white, that if a person truly wants equality for everybody, it's everybody, not picking and choosing. And because I do that, once in a while, I will run into a person who is black, brown, indigenous, or just, somebody who's non-white, who's absolutely spot on and supportive of everything I do, but then they flip out when I support equality for people who are LGBT in the LGBTQ community. And so it's a slippery slope for me to jump in and, educate them in that regard, because there are some people who believe like it's like a religious belief, I guess, or I'm not sure, who just are completely against it. And so that's when I would pick somebody. I just felt I had to kind of clarify that else to do it, because it's really not, it kind of overlaps. So anyway, enough about that. Mr. F.S. Black, that's unbelievable that people say stuff. Mr. Moppy, it's not enough our basic human rights are denied. White supremacy also wants to deny our history and achievements. If they can't whitewash our history, they'll make a conspiracy theory of it. Absolutely. Absolutely. The denial is surreal. It's surreal. It's a great point. Great point, Mr. F.S. Black. Mr. F.S. Black, I've heard college-educated white people claim the Egyptian pyramids were the work of aliens. They can't face the fact that the brilliance came from a person with brown, black, or tan skin. They can't handle it. It's unbelievable that it's like, don't get me started. Yep, great points. Pat, Neil, it was land as well. They got 10 acres per slave and sometimes more than that. Are you talking about the 10 acres and a mule thing or yeah. Thanks, Pat. Moppy. Let me see. Mr. F.S. Black, right. They said they were in Egypt, but they are so fast to say Black Americans come from, Ham. Okay, we come from Shem and Ham, and is another dark race of peoples, different tribes in Africa. Yeah, white folks in general, and this is in general, are incredibly uneducated. Because here's the problem. It's, for us, it is a lifelong journey. We will never get there. We will never be understanding all the way. And so if you're white and you want to learn this, you have to drop your ego. You think you know, and then you like realize, oh wow, like I got an A in history and U.S. history. It's like, but your U.S. history wasn't the truth. And some states, your U.S. history is more the truth than other states. To Texas, sorry, I'm sorry, I had to say that. Sorry, people. But that's the state where they had somebody say that humans that were taken and captured from Africa and brought over were immigrants. Yeah, it's unbelievable. But anyway, yeah, let me keep going. Yeah, the denial is real. Alabama Thorn. Only white people can end the system of racism, white supremacy. And a lot of people say that. And when people were at first saying that, I was like livid because like they should have done it so long ago and they should have, but it might be true. I don't know. That's what a lot of people say. I don't know. But all I know personally is that you do not get born into a society and say, just is what it is. When you see something going on that is so catastrophically wrong and you're born into the society, you do something. That's called loving your country. You want your country to be like the best it can be. And we aren't even on the charts right now. Sorry, we don't make the charts. We're horrible. We're sick. And white folks need to step up to the plate, drop their ego, act human and care. So anyway, I will take more people. Great points. I know a lot of people say it. Neil. Mr. Epstein, many of the prisoners were framed and set up to end up in prison because of the court-appointed lawyers and corrupt judges and juries. Oh, absolutely. And if you watch the other episode that's on our entire criminal justice system, I will go step by step, every level, if you're not already completely aware of that, and talk about every level of systemic racism. And there are, levels have their own levels. It's intense. So if you're like a white person and maybe you don't know a ton about it, it's fascinating in a, oh my God, this is sick as hell sort of way. Okay. So be prepared. Your head will be spinning. When white folks just learn some of the stuff that they've been like completely shielded from, it's life-changing. It's an epiphany. You can't go back. Once you hear this and you really care about your fellow humans, you just have to keep learning. And it's scary, really scary. Pat, the system was designed to suppress and oppress Black people, period. This is why to this very day, Blacks have no equality. And they say they do, but it's not. And right, they don't. And this is what I tell the white folks, because I only work with the white folks. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as planned. Fantastic point, Pat. Thank you. Mapi. They do understand the Egyptians came from Ham, right? Dark race of people, Egyptians. Well, again, Mapi, I don't know what they get, but they don't get that we have systemic racism in America. It's terrifying. If you read these, the studies that are really Reuters studies and just really, really high quality studies, you will not believe what the average white person. Well, look at Trump supporters. Yeah, no, I don't know. I somehow doubt it. Whoa, let me just catch up here. Wouldn't it be better? This is the one I can't say, but I'll try. Sifu McGrath. Wouldn't it be better if all races had their own land space? There would not be any conflict. I'm not sure if you're asking me or other people. I personally, if you're asking me, there is absolutely no reason. We are all humans. We are all related. We are all relatives. In my mind, it's all about education. You educate people, but we don't want to because whites benefit. Okay. Whites on a low level, the masses, benefit from this false sense of superiority. And the wealthiest elite benefit because they make tons and tons of money keeping us trying to blame Black people. So I don't know. That's a great question. And I've heard it before. I don't really have a lot to say about it, but anybody who's listening, if you're listening right now, jump in and tell them what you think. It's a good question. Neil, Pat, yes, you are right about the 10 acres per slave, and like you said, even more, a lot depended on how rich the slave owner was. Interesting. Lakeisha, hello. Yeah, I'm a latecomer because I was watching the reboot of All in the Family. Really? Oh, interesting. The Jeffersons and seeing the Archie Bunker. Wow, very interesting. I want to talk to you about that later, definitely. Oh my gosh, you always have the best stuff to tell. Pat, I'm happy you're here though. Pat, how many slaves the slave owner had as well? Gotcha. Yep. It was like all about a commodity. Very, very good. Good points. Neil says good points. Thank you so much. I think that's what he said. Or did I just speak for you? Pat, look, some people hate the truth. I know. And you know what? That's lovely for them to hate the truth. But that's a privilege. And that privilege needs to end, in my very, very white privileged opinion. Too bad. That's when your privilege makes people die and takes away their quality of life and causes stress and strain and anguish, then you have too much privilege as a white person, and it's not okay. They don't want the truth. Too bad. People are dying, and their cute, tender feelings aren't, they don't want to get those hurt. I am not a rough and tough person. I pride myself in being humanistic, but if you're a white supremacist in this day and age with the information and communication that's out there with technology, then you got a real problem. If the best thing you ever did was get born white, that's pathetic. So anyway, Pat, you're getting me on a rampage, which is probably what the show's for, I suppose. But Gary, white supremacists alter history and the Bible to support their evil. Absolutely. Great point. Absolutely. Or they pounce on biblical things that are kind of interpretive, and they can interpret it any way they want. And they go with my thing is this, Gary, and I know you've probably read some of my stuff, and I've read your stuff. You have amazing stuff you do, Gary. My big thing is this: if you use your religion to be hateful, then something's wrong. You're doing it wrong, And I'm talking about any religion used for hate. It is just an excuse. Like, I'm not being hateful. My religion tells me to. Give me a break. What a what a cop out. But yeah, great points. Let's see. You got off the LBG. Oh, no. Okay. You're funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're funny, Pat. Mr. FS Black. He's talking to Sifu McGrath. Everyone did have their own space before the white man invaded it. Again, you get comment of the night. We did this. I'm not trying to bag on white people. I'm just trying to speak in historical context. We did this. We chose to try to place our white values, or whatever they are, because again, white was made up, onto others. That is just arrogant as hell. And we call it colonizing. No, we had to start wars and conquer and destroy. The idea of colonization, what a joke. No, we were warlike people. We are the warlike people. And I am not saying this to be mean. Look at our history. I'm saying it to be factual, historically accurate. We are the ones who did this. Great point again. Gary, each own land, bad idea. Look how whites treat Native Americans on reservations when, right, exactly, good point. Gas, oil, or mineral wealth is discovered. Better to educate the stupid. Great point, Gary. I don't trust that. I mean, we've been doing this for a very long time. I'm not sure what's going to stop us, but yeah, great point. Neil, the problem is religion is man-made for those who believe and know God is not a religion. Absolutely. Absolutely. The religion part is a human construct, as many people say. Neil, fantastic point. And I am going to keep going because I really want to get to some of that other stuff that is just out of control. So let me see, where was I? You guys are making incredible points. So like the rant I did earlier, attempting to grow the white population through forced births, making people take a baby to term. I mean, here's the thing. Approximately 73% of Americans do not want women to lose their access to safe, legal abortions. So it seems a little strange. In the first 4.5 months of this year, nearly 300 bills attempting to restrict abortion have already been filed in 46 states. So what's going on here? I mean, I hate to bring us back to the anti-abortion issue because it's hard to talk about that. I mean, people aren't used to talking about it, but you know what? We got to do it. We got to do it. Freedom isn't free. We all thought that, oh, Roe v. Wade will never be overturned. I think it's going to be. If I had to bet, I think it's going to be. And that is taking American people back gazillion years. I mean, it's going to be ugly. So how can that be? If the people making the laws represent us, how can we tolerate this? We have too many people doing nothing, thinking, freedom's free. We'll just hang out and we're too busy. And I know everyone's heard me say it before. If we have to name names and the white people, I'm sorry, definitely for systemic racism, we watch horrific things happen to other people thinking, oh, that's not my business. Yes, it is our business. And the abortion thing is the same damn way. It's going to be your business. If you don't make it your business, it'll soon be your business. I guess, I don't know. Part of the problem is that when we vote for people that, our issues are self-promoting. We vote for people who, well, that's my issue, and so I'm going to vote for them because it helps us while ignoring back burner issues like that don't impact us personally, but are moral issues, like Roe v. Wade. We assume, oh, the Supreme Court's never going to overturn that. We live in America. Well, let's be clear. The reason, here's the thing. The recent abortion bans will not stop abortions from happening. Okay? They will not stop it. I promise you. I know women. I mean, you know women. You know our history. What they will do is they will ensure that some groups, specifically poor people, Black people who are very poor, people of color who are poor, are going to be disproportionately punished when seeking access to abortion, and they'll be the ones dying in the back alleys. The poorest Americans, whether white or brown or Black, will be the people who suffer from this, because they will be the ones that die of infection. They will be the ones that are jailed. I'm just saying, let's be real. Systemic racism is entrenched in every single system we have. It's in the air, like Obama said. Let's not kid ourselves. We already have an incredibly poor maternal mortality rate in the U.S. It exceeds the levels of almost every Western country, Western nation that's like industrialized. And for Black women, they die at the highest rates. That's disgusting. In a wealthy country like America, we do not value our women. I'm just sorry, I'm on a rampage here. Again, let me see. Pat, no one has suffered and suppressed more than Blacks, and history shows and proves that. Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no comparison, none. People can try to, I guess, dilute it somehow by throwing everybody in. No. Black people in America have endured chattel slavery. And absolutely, there's no, like, that's why I have a video on, no, I'm sorry, the Irish were not slaves. Did they have horrific circumstances? Of course. Do not say they were in chattel slavery. It's a lie. So anyway, yes, thank you. Thank you, Pat, for jumping in. Lakeisha, that's why women should leave the country to get legal abortions. Dual citizenship, young ladies. Thank you. Dual citizenship. I mean, we're losing our rights, and it's terrifying. Thanks, Lakeisha. Moppy, people always say Black Americans don't deserve reparations because they were never slaves. Okay, I'll say whites today weren't slave owners, but they benefit from slavery. Absolutely. See, when white folks say they weren't slaves, they don't get reparations. That is the most ignorant comment on the planet. Well, I mean, it's definitely up there in the top 10. It's ludicrously ignorant. People don't understand. Do they think that when slavery ended, do they really think people were dancing in the streets and just woohoo? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. When the troops left the South, they went back to, ever read the book Slavery by Another Name? It's like, oh my God. The new Jim Crow, I mean, have people, they don't understand. They don't know history. So if they don't know history, it's easy to say really, really stupid stuff. And I hate to use the word stupid, but I'm sorry. In this day and age, we have mass communication. We have an internet. If you want to know the truth, you'll find it. Great points. But Moppy, when people say stuff like that, they're so uneducated. It's like they don't know about black codes and lynchings and de facto murders and Emmett Till. I mean, don't get me started. Okay, but yeah, that's got to be enraging. Pat, the 13th and 14th Amendment was supposed to be for support and to protect Black people, but instead others have benefited from it except Blacks. Yeah, there's loopholes. There's loopholes. The 13th Amendment, it's disgusting. Slavery is not abolished completely, aka the black people being basically pipelined into prison, and the school to prison pipeline and systemic racism. Yeah, no, this was purposeful. This was purposeful. Neil, nationally, the Center for Disease Control points out that nearly half of all pregnancies among Black women end in abortion. Among white women, only 16%. Points. How do white supremacists sleep at night, Lakeisha? I have no effing clue. In what must be incredible denial and suppressed. I don't know. That's a great question. Not a clue. Not a clue. I don't think that I deserve credit for talking about this stuff. I don't deserve credit for being human, for seeing a catastrophic crime against humanity going on in my own country in front of my very eyes. I don't get credit for being human. All white folks should be doing this. This isn't like, oh, wow, angry soccer mom. Wow. No, everybody should be doing this. This isn't like you get a prize for showing up. This is like the minimum people should be doing. Lakeisha, non-human to me, they treat animals better than us. Yep. That's Lakeisha, that's actually the truth is. They dehumanize. They believe these lies, this propaganda that runs our country of white supremacy, and that the 1% elite benefit heavily from the white ignorant masses believing that Black people are the cause of all our problems. Now, it's kind of a strange thing because pretty much they built our damn nation, okay? They made us wealthy, so that's not really a cause of problems. They were worked to the bone for free under the worst, most barbaric circumstances known to humankind. Yet we have these propaganda machines that say blacks are lazy. Lazy? Are you kidding me? Lazy, said the person whose ancestors owned slaves so they wouldn't have to work as hard. It's like, it's crazy. I mean, this stuff's so psychological. Oh my God. Anyway, so black women, great points, Lakeisha. Black women are dying at the highest rates. And if these laws were to actually pass, it would dramatically worsen. The far right needs to cut the BS about all this right to life, we care about children thing. They don't, okay? These far right politicians don't care about children being ripped away from their parents at the border. These far right politicians do not care about children being adopted out who have parents. They don't seem to care about the fact that 70% of the human trafficking in our nation has ties to our own foster care system. How about the kids that already need parents? How about them? Oh, well, you know, they're not newborns. They're not white newborns. They don't seem to care too much about children's health care, and they certainly don't care about adult health care. They don't seem to care about vets who served our nation, who are living on the street. It's total hypocrisy, and it's disgusting. They do care about one thing, and that's racism and bigotry, and making America as white as possible. Neil. Oh, and Pat, excuse me. Sorry, Pat. Neil, I have to disagree with that because Planned Parenthood was set up in the rural black areas, and the most people who are getting abortions are white. Yeah, it's you're talking about percentage versus, yeah. It originally was set up, and again, she was a eugenicist supposedly, and that's, you know, a big controversial thing, but not really. It's a proven fact she was. A lot of people make excuses for it. I am not an expert in that, in the history of Planned Parenthood, but I do know that she was very much associated with eugenicists, and to what degree, to what depth, and to what understanding, I don't really know. And I've read a ton. It's really hard to find out some of this stuff. Lakeisha, dual citizenship. Neil, I talked to a black man yesterday who grew up in a poor black Detroit area, and he told me that black abortions have a lot to do with being able to afford to raise children. That was his opinion. And you know what? Something that I read today a ton about was that actually I read it in 3 different places. When birth control is given free, anywhere it's given free, anywhere, rates of abortions drop drastically. Okay, let me say that again. 3 different sources I read today said that when contraception of some sort are freely given out, it doesn't matter what community it's in, abortion rates drop. If the far right really gives a shit about abortion and, you know, making a little, you know, fetus a human status so that, you know, they have the same rights as people walking around, adults walking around, breathing, living, then they need to go with the obvious low-hanging fruit. Give free contraception. My God, this isn't rocket freaking science. See, that's why I know they really don't care. It's something else, because we have solutions. They won't take them. It's just enraging. Mr. F.S. Black, these white supremacists will call us lazy and at the same time accuse us of taking their jobs, which is because they sound awfully, yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing, right? Right. I think what you're saying is, you know, it's all just rhetoric so that they can, like someone said, I thought Lakeisha maybe, so they can sleep at night. You know, they got to believe what they believe so that they can function, because otherwise, what are they going to do? Go, I'm basically a barbaric, inhumane asshole. I mean, and they can't handle that. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's a lot of fear. And again, I don't talk to people who I work with like this, but this is a different show. This is a show to say it like it is. So you get it like it is on this show. I just say it. let me see. White women have abortions at a much higher. Yes, it's 40-60. I mean, excuse me, 60%. Yeah, that's why they're trying to stop, Pat, right. That's why they're trying to stop the white women, especially, because then they're trying to grow the population. They're trying to basically seed the population with white people. It's kind of scary. Kind of scary. It's really scary. Let me see. Did I skip anybody? That was Pat that I just. Lakeisha, Neil, eugenics, and they don't want black children to exist. They want a mixed child. They want a mixed child exist that looks white. Yeah, well, yeah, it's bad. Neil, Pat, I agree with you. My information from the Center of Disease was from the Center of Disease Control. They are not my figures. I'm not that smart. Yes, you are, Neil. Pat, they give it out in Australia for free. Yeah, that is. When I say low-hanging fruit, I mean, why wouldn't we do that? I mean, we don't want people to have to even consider the idea of an abortion. So why wouldn't we give everybody? I mean, that's, my God. It's because, you see, they don't really, these people, they don't really care about all people. Because, again, like I said, this is not like genius stuff. It's extremely obvious. It's not even a close call. So I don't get it. But Mr. F.S. Black, Lakeisha, but they'll never accept the mixed children. Thomas Jefferson had mixed, right, but they were still enslaved along with their mother. Yeah, so yeah, and that was some of the original reasons. Great points. Original reasons for not wanting to allow white and black people to, get near each other. Basically, segregation, because lo and behold, we catch on real fast that we're all humans. I mean, this is all a setup. The next couple talking points I have to make are kind of crazy. And they're on again. And I'm going to try to run through them because I really want to get to other topics, because I have some serious other topics I want to know your opinions on and what you think. I've heard Negroes were hung in their uniforms coming home from the war. Negroes have fought all their wars and built their kingdom for them. And this is what white America pays us with. Yep. 100%. 100%. Great points. Gary, Mr. Evans Black, they also don't accept the darker branches of Caucasians, only the proper Aryan ones. Very true. And again, it's a human construct, as you guys know. And what happens is, to the convenience of the federal government, we switch in, we switch out, we switch in. People from people who were Mexican for a while were considered white. I wonder why. Maybe we wanted something from them. We wanted to keep them. I mean, this is crazy. It's all about white supremacy. Race is made up. It's all made up. Oh, if you are Jewish, the people, it doesn't matter what, and a lot of people don't know this, but Jewish people live all over the world. There's every shade of Jewish people. That's just how it works. And the craziest thing is, if you are Jewish, if you say that's your religion or your faith, the white supremacists say, oh, you're not white. You're not white. It's the weirdest thing. Well, I mean, a lot of Jewish people aren't white. They're black, brown, whatever. That's absolutely all over the world. But it's a really weird thing. So that always freaks me out. Like, they're like, so you're right about the Aryan, I guess, like the Aryan, whatever. Oh, scary. Okay, Aryan ones, right. Lakeisha, Mr. F.S. Black, you are right. Slaves. It's a slave mentality. It's indoctrination and conditioning. It's just terrifying. So let's get to talking points, and I want to know what you think. And some of this stuff's kind of intense. I did a ton of research because it's a little bit confusing, and I need to get it all straight. So the following are important facts that you should know, because these anti-abortion laws, they're spreading state to state like wildfire. They're spreading. BuzzFeed online, they're doing kind of a great service. I thought it was. What they're doing is they took the important facts that you should know, and they kind of are straightening them out. And they're trying to track viral misinformation, which I appreciate very, very much, because there's so much misinformation. And just listen to these things. You guys are going to just flip out. It's crazy. The misinformation and the stuff they're trying to do, it's terrifying. Neil, white people's fearful reaction to people of color is in itself a means of dictating who gets to feel comfortable in a public space. Absolutely. It's unbelievable. I don't know how far Michigan has gone with that law. Was it Michigan that was going to try to make it against, and every state should make it against the law to call the police on a black person for existing while black. I mean, my God. But I thought there was one state that actually, no, it was a city. That was it. It was a city. And I haven't followed up on it. It was just from last week. They were actually trying to put something through. Every city should. Every state should. It is unconscionable that knowing white people can call police and endanger the lives of our fellow brothers and sisters who are black, brown, indigenous, everything. That is sick. That is messed up. So anyway, okay, going to stay focused here. So BuzzFeed got a lot of this stuff straight. I've cross-referenced pretty much everything. People do not know, and I bet you all know, but a lot of people don't know that abortion hasn't become illegal. It's not illegal as soon as these bills are signed, okay? So it's a very tricky point. A lot of women who aren't, maybe they don't have a lot of access to information, or, are scared or whatever. It's not illegal right now, okay? None of the laws that have recently been passed, the recent ones, have been passed across the United States, have gone into, the ones that are lately with all these anti-abortion, really harsh, hardcore, they haven't gone into effect. Women can still get an abortion if they want to, and they can keep their appointments, and they can go forward with whatever procedures they're going. Now, again, 3% of Planned Parenthood business is abortion. 3%. You'd think it was 100%, the way far-right people talk. But so it's important to know, because currently there are anti-abortion centers posing as abortion centers in different states, okay, in a bunch of different states. And what they will do is they'll take somebody, and they will, on the front, they look like a place where you could get women's health care, okay? But they're anti-abortion clinics. And basically what they are, they'll shame you, so I've been reading about those are spreading like wildfire, okay? So that's something to really keep in mind. Mr. F.S. Black, in Southern California, white supremacists still try to keep blacks and Hispanics against each other. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I lived there for 32 years. Oh, yes. Gary, my ex's first mother-in-law was furious if you called her Hispanic because she was from Guatemala. She was European white Spanish. She didn't approve of her black daughter-in-laws. Ooh, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's really sad. It's really, really sad. And, and then we have Trump, who's saying all those Mexican countries. I mean, it's so embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Pat, do you know Morgan Freeman went to Mississippi to stop segregation there? The school in Mississippi had 2 different problems and 2 different graduations, 14 white and the other one from, wow. I would love, that slightly is ringing a bell. And this is a while ago, right? That slightly rings a bell. If you have any information on it, I'll go back and try to, yeah, I remember they had 2 different ceremonies. Can you freaking believe it? And this was in our modern time. This is not like ancient history. Unbelievable. Yeah, thanks, Pat. You are like a wealth of information. Mr. F.S. Black, most of the Hispanic street gangs in Southern California pledge allegiance to the Mexican mafia, who are aligned with the Aryan Brotherhood. I'm actually, not to toot my own horn, but we are going to have coming up in June on a Sunday, I'm going to have a Q&A, a question and answer with the man who, he is the former leader of the Aryan Brotherhood in Mississippi. And he's a friend of mine, and he's the former. He barely escaped with his life. He's an incredible, incredible man. He's changed his entire life, and he's going to do a Q&A for all of us. You can ask him anything you want, and he'll answer. I mean, obviously, I know you guys will be respectful and everything. And if people jump on who are not being, I'm obviously not going to take that. How he got out is, of course, they put a hit on him immediately because he knew too much. He was the leader of the damn state. And they shot him at point blank range, and they basically, they hit him in the brain. It didn't kill him. It didn't kill him. He lived. And we're going to do a Q&A with him. And it really was an incredible experience for me. I did an interview with him, a 2.5-hour interview, which is on my YouTube channel. But I want him to talk to you guys and you to ask him anything. Ask him the hard questions. He gets it. Oh goodness. But at Mr. Epps, I know that the gangs are, it's pretty brutal. Neil, it may soon be a crime in Grand Rapids, Michigan to call the police on people. That's what it was. Profiling people of color for participating in their lives. Thank you, Neil. I knew someone would pull that out of there. Yes, thank you. Neil, the city said in an ordinance, the ordinance is redundant given existing laws against discrimination. Yeah. Oh, Pat, thank you so much. You'll get it. Okay. Yeah, Neil, there's a lot of stuff going on there's a lot of workarounds. I mean, trying to be a white supremacist is like a lifestyle. They work around. Thank you, Lakeisha. You're so succinct. America is screwed. Yes. If you want to work around the spirit of a humane law, there's incredible, sneaky ways to do it. I just don't think like that, but these people come up with insane things. That's how into it, and it's really sick. So we're going to keep going on this because I got to get to the other stuff. None of the abortion laws, anti-abortion laws, will specifically prosecute women who have a miscarriage, which is extremely common. But this is the sickest part. If a woman does have a miscarriage and she could be pulled out for investigation and looked into whether or not someone performed an illegal abortion on her, there are going to be people who are going to be tormented. Losing a baby against your will, like if you're like so far along or whatever, and you think you're having a child and you get a miscarriage, is very, very common, as most, I think that's common knowledge. In those states, and if it's overturned, and it will always be the poorest people who get the most scrutiny, the jail time, don't get the, don't get the reasonable doubt, and it's so scary. This is so scary. One more thing, and then I'm going to take some more questions. Calling these bills heartbeat bills is medically misleading. And I think a lot of people probably know that. Hearing the word heartbeat is like playing on your emotions. You're not technically hearing a heartbeat at a 6-week appointment. The doctors refer to it as a fetal pole cardiac activity. And I guess it doesn't slide off the tongue very well. It's a cluster of pulsing cells, is what doctors say. I am not pro or against or whatever abortion, but let's be real here. When they said 6 weeks, you could hear the heartbeat, I'm like, I had children. I could not even close to 6 weeks. It's because it's not the heartbeat. It's technically a fetal pole cardiac activity. And ask any doctor, and they'll tell you. Moppy, these Jewish people run the world. White people are being used by these. You know what, Moppy? I got to hold it right there because something I don't do is that on this show. Because I can't go there. Okay. So, but I know what you're trying to say, and please, I hope I haven't insulted you, but I can't go there on this program about taking a whole group of people and saying that because Jewish people are in every country, almost every country of the world. They're not like there's no connection really. I mean, it's hard to explain, but I can't be anti-Semitic on here, which is it's kind of getting there. And I know a lot of people say stuff like that. Gary, Lakeisha, not as long as enough of us stand up to the monsters. I just wish, Gary, I wish there were more white folks who would do it. I wish there were more white folks who would do that. Seth. Oh, but you're here, Seth. If you're still here, it took so long to get it. Thank you for being here, Seth. I appreciate it. And Moppy, I did not mean to insult you, but people sometimes try to go there, and I just have like I have people come on and say things about transgender women, and I can't go there. Oh, the Jewish elites. You mean, are you talking about the 1%? That's a whole nother story. And I just, the way you're putting it, I hope I haven't, insulted you. I kind of like, I get really kind of defensive because about that kind of thing. Yeah, Jewish elites, I say the 1%, and there's a lot of people who are every faith and everything, and the 1% are the ones who are doing this, and no matter what their religion are, what their religions might be, they're benefiting from racism, So I gotcha. I don't know a ton about that whole like Jewish elite. I get a lot of my information from Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow. So that's kind of one of my reference points. So I hope that makes sense. Lakeisha, pro-life is no life for Black people except white people. Right. I mean, I think what you're trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is pro-life is like all lives matter. No, they don't. All lives should matter, but they don't. So, I mean, that's what people need to understand, our real racial history. And it is barbaric. And still happening. Lakeisha, anti-Black, pro-white. Yeah. It's called Prom Night in Mississippi. Okay. I'm remembering that from a while back. And I remember going, what? You got to be kidding me. I couldn't believe it. I've heard of people in the LGBTQ community having their own proms so that they can have a safe space. But Pat, the thing you're talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's like, what year are we living in? My God. But anyway, okay. And this is tough stuff we're talking about. There's going to be, Seth, Mississippi's messed up. Yeah. You know what? A lot of this nation's just, you know what? We never came to grips with our real racial history, the white folks. We never had racial healing. We never admitted what we did and what we were doing. So we still, it's like the person who says, who's smacking their spouse in the face as they're saying, forgive me. You can't be doing it. You can't be harming the people and expecting forgiveness when you're still doing it. Well, white folks are still doing it. We're just doing it in more sneaky ways. But we're still doing it. Not for 1 second should anyone believe that systemic racism isn't absolutely alive and thriving. It's just white folks often look for burning crosses and people in hoods. Oh no, they're in suits and ties. They're in our government. They're our police. They're our teachers. They're our doctors. And they're not even the worst part. It's the white folks who think being nice to everybody is enough. They think they're doing their part. I'm just nice to everybody. It's not enough. This is a system that was purposely put in place. The system must be dismantled. It's going to take everybody. If you're just, it doesn't, it's not my business. Yeah, it is your business. And that's why I'm pretty convinced that our nation is going to be very soon, if not already, no longer a constitutional republic. It's just, these people aren't for the people. When a huge percentage of people want safe abortions to be legal, and we have state after state after state overturning this kind of stuff and trying to get Roe versus Wade, Our Congress people, our politicians are not working for us. So, Moppy, you can change, but you can't erase your past. It doesn't work like that. Exactly. And a lot of times I'll say, Moppy, I'll say to people, you know, you can think that if you want, it doesn't make it true. If that's what you need to think, but it's still a lie. I don't know why people like living lies. It's really weird. I'd rather know the harsh truth personally, but I mean, I don't know. Pat, Charleston, Mississippi. I'm so looking that up. I remember that just like a teeny little, I remember thinking, I had to reread that. Like, are you kidding me? That's terrifying. One piece of advice my mom gave me when I was a little kid was and this is a terrible thing because it's probably, you know, as a kid, I was 6 years old. She said, don't ever go to the South. She said, they're really, really racist. Well, I was 6 years old. I didn't know what that meant. So I did that. I never went to the South. And I know that's a really unfair thing to say because there's a lot of people who are absolutely the opposite. And there's a lot of non-white people there who are obviously not. But my mom said she was trying to warn me. It's like, it's not a safe place for people who care about everybody. She should have told me that at such a young age, but whatever. I remembered it. Neil, they are the enemy of the people. Yeah. Let me see if I skipped anybody. I hope not. Okay, so it's going to get a little crazy here. In Alabama, so I talked to you about the fetal pole thing. In Alabama and Georgia, the cases of rape and incest isn't that basically rape, but you know the person because they're in your family. I don't know why they make it sound better. They should just say it's rape, are not exempt as many other states are. You guys, if you feel comfortable, tell me about that. What do you think? If you've ever known or ever been viciously raped, to have somebody tell you, you have to carry the child of the rapist. There are no words. It's like being raped all over again. That's sick. That's messed up. I guess it doesn't matter if the woman who's being forced kills herself. I guess that life doesn't really matter, does it? So I have really big, big problems with that personally. And that is an opinion. But personally, Seth, forget white power and forget black power. Let's do something that the white supremacists are really scared of, and that is put people of color and white on the same level to make gray power. Interesting. And we'll say that is, you know what? I have to say, Seth, that is a very beautiful thing that you just said. And I know some people will say, well, people of color aren't black people because, you know, a lot of black people do not want to be put into that category because it's just lumping everyone together. But black people, brown people, indigenous people, Latino people, Mexican people, everybody who's not Caucasian can, you know what, Seth, the truth is when people in historically marginalized groups unite with their educated allies in numerical majority groups, there will be no stopping an end to systemic racism. There will be no stopping it because the numbers will be overwhelming. And that is what education can do. And one of my groups takes people who will never in their entire life meet a person who's Muslim, a person who's Quaker, a person who's Jewish, a person who's Christian, okay? They will never meet a person who doesn't have a home, what we call homeless. They will never meet a person who is developmentally disabled. They will never meet a person who is from Israel. They will never meet a person from Palestine. They will never meet a really, really wealthy humanistic person. And in that group, we meet and we make friends. And that is where you don't let your friends get abused. You just don't. Friends don't let friends get abused. Seth, I know. Seth is homeless and he is a great, great man. Seth, you should come to the show every time. I love your input is just awesome. Yep. Douglas, rejected. Pat, you can't erase the past, but you can change it for the better, or perhaps the worse. The choice is up to us. I know, and that is why, Pat, absolutely. There is no reason. I have seen it with my own eyes. I've seen people come in who were into the communities who were raised by white supremacists. And they're kind of like, all lives matter, and I don't see color, and all this stuff. They come in, and I am not joking. They'll PM me, and they'll say, I don't mean to insult you, but I'm going to leave your group. And I'm like, oh, that's okay, I understand. And they'll say, like, I just can't take all these new people coming in. It's a learning group who they're saying, I don't see color. They're, oh my God. And I'm laughing my head off, going, wait a second, that's what you used to. I don't tell them that, but it's like, move on, go out and educate. Go out and educate people. Thanks, Seth. It's amazing. If I hadn't seen miracles, I'd be like skeptical. All right, I'm gonna go on because I'm gonna bore everyone to death here. Just to clarify, I looked it up yesterday over and over. A fetus is at 6 weeks is the size of a pea in a pea pod. One, not the pod, but the pea. Okay. I'm not saying size matters. Okay, don't go there. But what I'm trying to say is, I want the facts to be spoken. When you take this and say this is a 6-week baby fetus, it's not true. It's a lie. I want people to have the right information to make the right decisions. Okay? Saying that this is what a 6-week-old fetus looks like, it's just not true. Okay? That's the reason I put that in there. Check this out. This is something you might want to know. On May 20th, journalist Judd Legum, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, looked through a campaign finance database and identified 6 businesses that have donated large sums of money to politicians who are supporting extreme anti-abortion legislation. And these 6 corporations are financing the war on women in 6 states, and it's very specific. And this person looked it up, and they had trouble finding this information. The corporations were AT&T, Walmart, Pfizer, Eli Lilly, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, Coca-Cola, and Aetna. And this information was not readily available. It was buried, and this is happening, and it was buried on purpose. Yeah, Gurr is right. They are financing, taking away the rights, the right to at least have a say in your own body. Okay, I'm not saying I'm pro-abortion or anti-abortion or whatever, but for God's sakes, telling someone to carry a child to term and raise their rapist's baby, forcing them to, that's barbaric. Maki, oh, I gotta undo it. You got nabbed by the YouTube police. Police let a man off the hook for raping a teenage girl. Meanwhile, a black male gets 12 years in prison for a Caucasian woman lying on him and saying he raped her. He had sex with her. I know. The stuff, Mapi, the stuff is enraging. The incredible systemic racism is at every level. When I was studying the stuff for the show we did on systemic racism in our supposed system of justice, the show could have gone all night. I mean, it literally could have gone all night. The number of levels at every level, there was something absolutely enraging. It was unbelievable. Let me see. Plan B. Great points, everybody. Plan B is considered like it's the morning after pill, and what it is it's an emergency contraceptive that has an expiration date on it. And like I said earlier in this program, there's a lot of people who are professionals in the field, not me, I'm not a professional in the field. They're saying get one and put it in your cabinet, because they're starting to mess with those too in some states. This is crossing over states. This is spreading, and it's everybody's business, because everybody knows, has a daughter, a sister, a friend, a wife, a girlfriend. This is, how about this? Everybody's wife or girlfriend, it's going to be you too that are going to be having a baby, whether you want to or not. So this does impact men, and it's very important that men are involved, in my, I guess, like, my opinion, I guess you could say. All right. So this is not an abortion pill, and it's really important to keep. And what I'm trying to do right now is make talking points that are facts, because there is misinformation. Oh my God, there's misinformation going on like crazy. And as I said earlier, BuzzFeed's trying to kind of find the misinformation that's going viral and try to present it, because Pat, the guy, got 12 years for just kissing a white girl. I mean, in this day and age, wow. Seth messaged me with the info. Neil, can you PM me with the names of the companies and the subject? I would love to see what I can find. Yes, it was an incredible find. And this guy was awfully proud that he found these companies. Absolutely, I will do that. One of the things with the 6-week ban blocks access to abortion before women know they're pregnant. It's incredibly common to not know you're pregnant at 6 weeks. So basically, by the time you find out you're pregnant, you're having a baby, and you will be forced to, if it's a rape, you're going to be forced to carry the child. And it's psychologically, it's just so sick. And in some states, I hate to say it, convicted rapists can get custody, joint custody. Some states in America, a convicted rapist can sue for custody after they get out of jail, if they go to prison, because most don't. And look it up. It's the truth. Women's rights are being eroded left and right. It's a fact that banning, and this is all from some of the articles I cross-referenced, banning abortion increases maternal mortality rate. And yeah, Moppy, that is sick. Oh, it's sick as hell. It increases it, and because Black women have the worst, one of the, if not the worst care in America for maternal health care, it's going to impact them much more than anyone else, of course. It's disgusting. Some of the legislation under consideration doesn't acknowledge the possibility of a miscarriage after detecting a fetal cardiac activity. Here's the problem. You go in and you're excited, you're having your baby, whatever, you purposely, you planned your child, and you get this fetal activity. And you're like, yes, my kid's on the right track, whatever. You miscarry that baby, and you'll be subject to prosecution. And that is the big, big, big concern, which could deter people from seeking prenatal medical care. If you lose your baby through natural means, oftentimes you need to go to the doctors and make sure you're okay, and make sure, you got to go to the doctor and check yourself out. It's a very serious thing, depending on where you are and your circumstances. And women will stop going to the doctors, because if they have the fetal heartbeat, or the heart, I guess, electrical activity, and then they lose the child through natural means, they could get prosecuted. I mean, this is some scary stuff we're getting into. Pat, well, a white woman didn't know she was pregnant, and she had the baby in a public restroom, and then she threw the child in a nearby dumpster. Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy insanity that goes on. with that kind of stuff. I've heard stories of that before too. But here's the thing. So, but in addition, it's the marginalized, poor women, which, due to the systemic racism that's already in our nation, it's going to impact women who are Black, brown, indigenous, of mixed heritage. It's going to impact the poorest people because we have so much systemic racism already. It's always going to be racist by definition, because prosecutors are going to go after non-white people the most. That's what they do now. They're going to get more prison time. That's what they do now. So it's just going to exacerbate a system that's already incredible. It's like wrought with incredible, inequality and lack of equity. So here's the thing. In Georgia, the maternal mortality rate ranks like one of the worst in the country. So these people are saying they care about children and women, and no, they don't. How can you be ranked last and care? No, they care about controlling you. Georgia they criminalized abortion. Women who terminate their pregnancies will receive life in prison, supposedly. I mean, some of the laws are inherently cruel, forcing survivors to carry their rapist's child to term. And here's the craziest thing. According to this Rape and Incest National Network that's pretty popular, women between the ages of 16 and 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape and sexual assault. We are going to be hurting and forcing our ages 16 to 19, those are children, to carry their rapist's baby. I'm sorry. That's just, if you've ever known anybody who's been raped, you just have no idea. It's something that doesn't seem right. Is then again, there's this 99 years in prison thing for the doctors. What about the rapist? Or what about, I can't even go there. The sexual offender, they don't get 99 years in prison. Some of them can try to get custody if they dare to actually have been prosecuted, get custody of the child. They raped a woman, an innocent young woman or young woman or woman, forced her to, this is just beyond sick. It's beyond sick. But anyway, I want to ask you guys, give me a yay or nay. I have 2 more topics to go over. If you want to, we can wrap it up, and I'll answer all the questions and we can wrap it up. The topics are a school in Houston who had Jersey Day that has been turned into de facto Thug Day, and it's pretty disgusting. I was going to talk about that a little bit. And then my other thing I have is I talk about Betsy DeVos, and she needs to step up to the plate and start on the federal level, giving direction to teachers who are policing children, our babies who have Black hair. They're actually brown, Black, indigenous. Their hair comes out the way it is. It's their hair. And they are policing their hair, and they are doing a workaround to make sure that children who are not white feel horrible about themselves. And that is so sick. It is beyond sick. Let me take some, so let me know, give me a yes, and I'll know that means you want me to keep going. And if not, I will read everyone's questions and comments and say good night. Totally up to you guys, because God knows I'll be happy to talk about those 2 topics anytime. Let me see. Pat. Oh, no. Sorry, Pat. Wrong. I did. Mobby, America is going to hell. Yeah. Yep. We've done incredible crimes against humanity that we won't even admit. The white folks won't admit. We've been living a lie, and it's all about propaganda. And the wealthiest 1% thank us for our service, because we have allowed this to continue by blaming Black people for all of our problems when we, white people, are the ones who did this. So it is ugly. And I think if Trump doesn't get booted out or somehow gone, I think we're done. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to be, I'm just logically saying we're already, huge amounts of people want common sense gun laws, huge amounts, yet we don't have them. And that's across the board. That's Republicans and everybody. Okay? Common sense gun laws. Nope. Huge amounts of people want to keep abortion legal, safe and legal, like astronomical amounts. Yet this is what's happening. Our politicians are no longer representing us. And that's not a representative democracy. That's something else. Okay. Not that I have to say this, but let me see. Neil, is it me, or has anyone else noticed that the southern states are beginning to bring racism out more and more, or is it my imagination? It's not your imagination. No, it's a great question, Neil. In my opinion, what does everyone else think? Tell me. It is a freaking free-for-all, and it's always been like this. Don't get me wrong. If you're a white person just learning and listening to this, don't get me wrong. Nothing has particularly changed other than it's out of the closet. It's all out of the closet. And things are getting much more, how do we say it, emboldened. People are emboldened. People who at least would be quiet in public aren't anymore. They have their new leader. And he is a white supremacist. And that's all they needed. And it's disgusting. I definitely think so. Yeah, Moppy, I wouldn't be surprised if World War III, that's a whole other thing with Iran and Trump is definitely, I was talking to my friend Don today on the phone for a long time, actually. And he is, is, I guess, retired very, very high up in the military. And we both agreed that what's going on right now with Iran, I think Trump's alluded to it. He's even said it. He deserves 2 more years, or maybe a few more years, or Trump wants to be king. And when Trump ran his campaign for president on the idea that he would further harm every single group that's already been historically marginalized, I believed him. And he is exactly doing that. And when he says he wants to keep, and he looks up to these dictators and he wants to keep being president, I believe him. And I think that we need to believe him, because he's going to try to start a war. And in a war, even if Congress at first doesn't, declare war, he probably won't be able to do much, I'm guessing. But once he gets into it all the way, Congress is going to be, their hand's going to be forced, and that'll be it. He will be able to say, we're in a war. We can't, he's an evil con man. Okay. Yeah. Pat, Australia. Whoa. Australia tried to get rid of the blacks there by genocide, and that didn't work. So they tried to breed them out, and it didn't work as well. They took all their kids as well. Yeah. Just like we did to the native people. And my God, hundreds of years, we stole, kidnapped Black people who we put in enslaved status. We took their children away. So it's disgusting. Gary, Neil, it isn't just you, and it isn't just southern states. I'm in upstate New York. I didn't know that. Something openly racist around. I'll go back to that. I wasn't sure exactly what you're saying, but yeah, I did an interview in upstate New York about 3 years ago. It's on my YouTube channel, and it was at a Trump rally. And it was the ending of a Trump rally that would have been a lot bigger the day before. And it was really, really eye-opening, terrifying, shall I say. And I interviewed them. I didn't even get to ask them any questions about racism because I left those for last because I was going to run because they were getting really pissed. And I was going to kind of like, and then they were getting so mad that I just decided like I wanted to just leave. So I left. But I asked them about a ton of stuff. Check it out. It's an interview I did at this Trump rally, and it's a really small rally, but whew, that was terrifying. Let me see. Neil, great comment, Gary. It's wow. Seth, would it be possible for me to be a live guest? A live guest? I'm not sure. I don't even know where you live, but we can talk about it. But a guest, absolutely. Yeah, common sense ain't that common, right? Good, absolutely, Seth. Pat, but most whites will not acknowledge it at all. Yeah, here's the problem: is denial. The denial is the depth of the denial. It's like, it's just history. Like when I do my YouTube videos, it's just history. Sometimes I don't even give my opinion. Sometimes I do give my opinion. And those are pretty obvious because I kind of like go on a rant and like a nut. Okay. But a lot of them are just historical, and people get, oh my God, you should see the stuff that I get from these white folks. They're enraged. I'm like, dude, like, it's history. Did you treat your history professor, I shouldn't even ask that, this way, or, in high school or in college, or my God, I'm just speaking history. But they get enraged. They can't handle it. It's the weirdest thing. Very weird. It seems weird to me, but I guess kind of a lot of people do it. So yeah, they won't acknowledge it. Neil, Gary, I think you were right. It is spreading to the north as well. My point was, I think it's started in the southern states. Sorry for not making myself clear. No, you're fine. You're fine. I understood what you meant, Neil. Gary, my area has a lot of former Southerners. Interesting. And it's a really tough thing because unfortunately, since we've never reconciled or come to terms or admitted or given reparations or done anything really, except generally deny the crap out of systemic racism, which is the foundation of everything we do in America. That is why the South has a horrible, horrible rap. And I know that's probably not fair because I'm sure there are people who are fighting for equality and equity and human rights, but until we all, as a nation, the white folks, admit, repent, do whatever it takes to face it and be real and educate ourselves, this isn't going to go anywhere, in my opinion. Moppy. These white guys in the media like Tucker Carlson, they're saying white men are hated for no reason. Oh, really? Only if you knew your true history about your ancestors. This is just karma. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. A lot of, part of it is that they don't know their history. And I don't think anyone should be hated, which I know what you're saying, though. But these people need help. These people need to be educated and taught how to join. And I'm talking about extreme overt racists who are white. They need to be taught how to join the human race. And like anybody who is, you guys are gonna kill me. I consider them kind of vulnerable in the sense that they're pathetic. People who believe this kind of that's pathetic. That something's really, really wrong with them, really wrong with them, and they need help. And yeah, sure, everyone hates them because it's a terrible thing, but they need help. These people need help. And I know that probably if you could, if this were live with like a phone, there'd be hisses and blues, what are you talking about? But again, my beliefs are a little bit probably different than a lot of people's. It's just I think pedophiles need help too. I mean, we shouldn't be mean to them. We have to help them. And that's a whole nother, what I'm trying to say is I'm extremely against inhumane treatment. I think our prison system is sick as hell. It's barbaric. Mental health, lack thereof, it's disgusting. We don't care about people. We care about money and greed and wealth in America. So let's just, boy, I'm on a rampage. Sorry, you guys. I'm a little hyped up tonight. Let me see. Moppy, it's sadly true. Says Gary. Yeah. Neil, Moppy, if white men searched their ancestry, they would be shocked to find out that they have black blood in them. Yeah, I know, exactly. That always cracks me up. People don't get it. We're all related. Hello, human genome study, it's just like the whole thing's just, they don't want to get it. Great points, you guys. Seth, it's official. We need a new system. This one is beyond repair thanks to people like Trump. Yeah, well, Trump he was a leader for people who wanted this. And if we can somehow bounce back, I don't think we can. But if we can somehow bounce back, this could be the best thing that ever happened to our nation in like 100 years. Or I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, great points. Neil, please explain what the new system we would need. Yeah, I think, Neil, and I don't want to speak for Seth, obviously, but I will. No, I'm just kidding. We need to dismantle this one. It wasn't made for equality, and it was made for white elite people. It was made for white people. So, I mean, that's just what I think maybe he meant. Pat, did you know blacks, blah, 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 blah. Did you know back in the day, white women would not breastfeed? They got their slaves to do it. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it was like probably a status thing too. It's, yep. That's just the weirdest thing. Talk about hypocrites. You see enslaved people, humans who were enslaved, having to nurse a white woman's infant, yet the white people treat them like crap, yet their breast milk is perfectly fine for them. I mean, it's just so weird. It's just so damn weird. I don't even get it. I mean, that's just plain bizarre. But yes, absolutely, I did. And I don't know if it's a good thing to bring up, because a lot of people, not here right now, but a lot of people maybe who watch the reruns of this, we usually get a couple hundred people watching reruns, and they might not know. So it's a good educational thing to bring up. People about the Moors. Okay, exactly. They come from black people. They even look down on blacks, but only if they knew blacks pulled them out of their caves and taught them everything they know today. Yeah, it's like a really weird dynamic of like not understanding that ancient civilizations were brown. I mean, and they did a lot of incredible, amazing things. Like, people just don't want to accept our real history now, our modern history, and they sure as hell don't want to accept our older history. Even like the people from way back in the day when they did sculptures, they even whitewashed the sculptures over. Did you guys see articles on that a couple weeks back? It's kind of disgusting. They whitewashed sculptures of these people, and when they chisel them away, they're like, oh, they were brown people. It's like, it's insane, the depth of what we do. Let me see. So, ask white people about the Moors. They don't know anything. They don't. I mean, I'm just saying in general, because they don't even know. It's not good. It's not good. And granted, people have gotten probably better from Trump being so overtly racist that a lot of white folks who are maybe just kind of like minding their own business, thinking, no, that's not for me, and not really knowing about the truth, have probably tons more have found out. But the core bunch of people that are kept ignorant purposefully by not having education in public schools, they don't care. They're brainwashed. I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't know. And the Moors, Seth, exactly my bad saying that. What I mean. No, you're fine. I didn't. Seth, you're fine. Pat, and the Morse had over 20 universities. Yeah, I mean, a lot of, they're denying our current history. They're denying our president is a lying, you know what? I mean, they certainly are not going to admit to ancient. This whole thing is very psychological. Seth, I do the same thing. What I mean, so people understand, so we are all in the same club. Hey, Seth. When I found out, I will. Oh, when I found out, I will tell you. Okay, super. I am going to wrap up our show tonight. I wanted to thank everyone who's still here. I appreciate it very, very much. And if you guys believe that shows like this and YouTube channels that teach white folks the truth, that it's way past time for white folks to take some responsibility for our own racial history and not lead, not be the big hero of the day, but support our brothers and sisters who are Black, brown, indigenous, and who live in our nation and most of the time have lived here before any of our ancestors ever were even here. They deserve liberty and justice for all, like everybody does. Equity and equality. And please support my YouTube channel. Get your friends to check it out. If you know white folks who are just on the verge of kind of getting it, please send them my way. It's what I do. It's the only thing I want to do. Is educate the white folks. And I'm still learning myself. So that's how it goes. So I really feel strongly like if you support what I do, please get white folks, because I don't have any white folks left on my, I do. I don't have too many white folks left on my list. They all ran years ago. Like, they ran for the hills. Thank you so much for tonight. And be excited because I'm going to have my friend Thomas come on to do a Q&A. He was the former leader of the Aryan Brotherhood in Mississippi. He is out, he escaped, and he has a lot to say, and I think it'll be really good. And Moppy, thank you so much for being here. Peace, everybody. You're wonderful. Your comments are awesome. And Pat, I am thrilled you're here. Yep, the average person wouldn't tell their children the truth. They hide the truth. And that's something that I've made sure that I always do and encourage all parents. Your kids deserve to know the truth. Okay? You didn't do it. Show your kids, when your kids think of you, be a mom, be a dad, be an aunt, be an uncle, so that when your kids think of you, they think of integrity and honesty and humanism. And I know I'm preaching, but I'm just saying that is, live so your children think of you that way. And that includes teaching them about our system of systemic racism. It is a gift to raise children of the world, and it's a gift you give to your children. And I truly believe that. Look at me, I'm like preaching. I preach. But yeah, the average white person, they don't know themselves. They literally don't know what to tell their child. It's like amazing. Seth. Oh, thank you, Seth. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're so sweet. Neil, don't forget to get people to subscribe to. Oh, thanks, Neil. Thanks to Anchor Soccer Mom YouTube channel. She needs 5 more subscribers to reach her next level goal. Neil, you're the best. Thank you so much. I know you're sick. And Seth, thank you for being here. We had a couple people who have not been here before, and I am just thrilled. I do this every Wednesday. I have to, famous last words, I can't be here this coming Wednesday, but I will be back, and we have a bunch of really cool things coming up. So please stay in touch. PM me for anything. And I'm really slow, as Pat will probably tell you. I'm really hard to get a hold of, but I promise you I will try my best, because this just means so much. I just get too many like a day. I can't handle it all. I can't handle it. So thank you so much, everybody. And I can't thank you enough for supporting. What I'm trying to do is educate the white America. Take care. Good night. And we have 2 topics that have not been touched that are sadly ongoing. So thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to PM me and say hi. Good night.